Good morning everybody and welcome to this Islands-Whangaroa Community Board meeting for Monday the 31st of July. I will invite Tyler to open us up with the karakia this morning.
Te mahi me te ngākau o aha me te whakamahi I ngā pukinga me te mataranga I o roto, ka wānanga me ngā whakatonga, te whakaturia ai te tahi apore me matatika ana e tu kotahi ana ki u whakapuki ano te oranga o tātou rohi whakatau ano I ngā tahi o te rohi I ngā runga I te ask that through the board's discussions and the representatives elected and advocate on behalf of the Islands-Whangaroa community with aroha, imagination, skill and wisdom to achieve a fairer and more abundant community that enhances the well-being of the community and solves the community's problems efficiently.
Thank you for that. It's Tyler's birthday today, so shout out to Tyler. Right, moving on. Welcome everyone for those of you online who are joining us today and for those of you that have come to speak to us this morning in our public forum. We'll just go around and introduce ourselves to you, starting with Bruce.
Good morning, I'm Bruce Mills. I represent the Whangaroa subdivision.
Good morning, Lane Air. I represent Kerry subdivision.
I'm Tyler Bamber. I represent Wapapa.
Here I'm Jane Hinkle. I represent Kuraraka Russell, Otua and Manawa.
Honourable the board, your chair for the day and my subdivision area is Heidi Whiten.
Hello, I'm Casey Gannon, Democracy Advisor for the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa community.
And I'm Amy, I represent.
Good morning everyone, Councillor Anne Court, the councillor appointed to the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa community. Lovely to see you here on this beautiful.
Good morning, Kim Hammond, and I am the Community Board Coordinator.
And kia ora, I'm Catherine True and I'm Funding Advisor for Far North District Council.
Oh, sorry, I'm Eden Ramsey. I take care of road naming applications within the NTA.
Lovely, welcome. Right, moving on. I give apologies for I'm really happy to be here. I will move ahead of sector. Thank you, Lane. All those in favour? Thanks. Right, so first up we have our public speakers here, which we'll get straight into. Sam's been waiting the longest, so we'll start with you, Sam Morton. You would like to come forward. Got 5 minutes to speak. Sam's come to speak to us in relation to item 7.5, the agreement on the five-year village green. There's a spot that you have to stand, Sam, because we are on camera. And this is the best present. Right here. So page 75 of your agenda.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam Morton and I'm from Whanganui. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge all previous speakers and thank everyone for your time here today. Violet, happy birthday, mate. I'm speaking in support of the Paihia Village Green Market, which has been operating in some form of capacity for at least the last 35 years. Over this time, all have prospered side by side from the cruise ships, along with the whole tourism industry. All good. Thank you. Yes, like I said, over this time, all have prospered side by side from the cruise ships, along with the whole tourism industry. Paihia is the entry point for cruise ships into the Northland area. It has an awesome platform for entertaining international visitors at so many different levels. On one of these levels, Focus Paihia over time have built up a very comprehensive set of guidelines for the Paihia Village Green Market to operate under and follow. with the main objective being taken from page 80, which is at the top of page 1 of our guidelines. Our goal is to enhance the area with a vibrant artisans market that helps Paihia stand up and shine as a cruise ship destination. At present, we have stallholders from as close as School Road in Paihia to the far reaches of the Northland boundaries set out in our guidelines, which is on page 81 E5. Everything, including hats from the Hokianga, fish artwork from Wanganui, jewellery from Paihia, soaps from Mangawhai, and everything in between. All artists, makers, entertainers, or creators in their chosen field. We all respect and work within these guidelines and continue to do our part to uphold the standards required to be involved as a storeholder, along with continually thinking of ways to move the market forward. Another one of our guidelines on page 83, I, 1 and 2, requires the artisan to not only make the product, but be present and sell their own product. This creates a really customer-based experience for our visitors, which they seem to really enjoy. It also allows us, the artisans, to get direct feedback on our product, which in turn is priceless in terms of fine-tuning and coming up with the product that sells and sells well. It also creates a linger longer scenario in the Paihia township, which is definitely beneficial for all doing business in and around Paihia. I would like you to take note of the amendment that was needed to be done on page 87, E7. This was due to a typo and has been corrected to enable us, the market, to hit the ground running for the first arrival of the cruise ship, 1,750 passengers aboard, allowing us to put the market on, which is in September this year. So we go on the Far North Holdings cruise ship schedule based our dates on that. With tourism now kicking off again after the COVID era has subsided, I myself, along with all previous storeholders, would like a solid process for the future planning around this event, our market. There's so much potential for our market moving forward. We are a small but meaningful piece of the puzzle when it comes to entertaining the large numbers of visitors over New Zealand's traditional tourist summer period. Us, alongside the rest of what Paihia has to offer, really does make for a Northland experience. All of us have a wonderful platform in Paihia to benefit from. Our cruise ship port is ranked very highly, directly by the cruise ship passengers themselves through formal feedback. Just had a chat with Roger and he said we are second on the list, Roger. So we're right up there. I feel very privileged to be playing my part as the new site manager for the market. So that's just helping out alongside Focus, more so on the day on the ground. I feel very privileged to be playing my part as the new site manager for the market, not only in the form of enhancing the area with a vibrant artisans market, but adding to the destination of Northland as a whole. I thank you for taking our opinions into consideration regarding moving our guidelines forward to the council in a positive way. Please feel comfortable that our guidelines cover everything in relation to the running of our market and also the positive outcomes for all concerned. After all, they have been in place for quite some time, and with the few tweaks that have been made, this will set us up well for the future. Again, I'll say, tourism is a big industry. There is plenty of room for us all in Paihia. Let's make the most of the cruise ship industry getting up and sailing again. Ka kite anō, thank you very much for your time and listening. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lady Chair.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here on behalf of Business Pie here, and Charles puts his apologies in for not being able to attend himself. And I'm here as well up with my Focus Pie here hat, who administers the markets that we're talking about. I'm really here to lobby for the renewal and approval of the guidelines that have been set for the market. I would like to, well, the business people would like to also have some of the restrictions lifted, which I'll talk about shortly. I think we all know that this has been a fairly emotive issue in Pie here for years now. But I think that what we need to do is step back and look at that a bit and just look at the bigger picture and look at the greater good, as it were. You might have seen the article in the Herald over the weekend where the estimated benefit for the Bay of Islands is in the order of about $30 million each season. And so that is a huge benefit for the area. And there's no other way of bringing in that much of business into town for all the businesses in town. And it also results in a huge amount of employment in town, being able to know that there are 2 or 3 cruise boats coming a week, and therefore they employ a lot more people in their restaurants or whatever it is. What Business Pie here does accept that some of the retailers who have felt that they've been hard done by in the past in terms of having competition, as it were, on the village green. Sure, I think in terms of the bigger picture for the area, when we're looking at a potential $30 million coming into town, there's no doubt that all the retailers get an enormous benefit from that. And it's not only the people in the market who get the benefit. So it's not as if, sometimes I feel that the gripes of some of the retailers are that they want all the benefit. Now we can spread that around because the town wouldn't cope without having these other activities on the green. So I think that there is, as Sam said, room for everyone there. We have got some restrictions that I think have, everyone thinks that have impacted on the market itself. And the first one is the number of stalls that we've been allowed to have, and that has been pegged at 20. And from prior years, I think that really did impact on the sort of feel of the market itself. We think that we can have more stores on the market without attracting at all from the retail outlets, especially now with the increased number of boats coming through. So we would like very much to be able to offer more stalls to arts and crafts people. And then the second one, in the perfect world, we wouldn't be limited to only have stalls on the days when cruise boats with over 1,500 passengers are in town. So that if there is a cruise boat with 1,000 people on board, we can't have it down. Now, that I think would be that is a huge negative, as it were, for the Bay of Islands, because every season all of the stops on the New Zealand coastline get rated by the passengers on board these cruise boats, and we have been we are listed the second best stop in New Zealand. So that's significant because it encourages the cruise boats to come and keep coming. And I think that there could be some type of lift on restrictions there that would help everyone. Thank you.
Chair, am I correct in understanding this year we're including 5 stores for local retailers? 10. And it's the first year we've done it?
Yeah, it used to be 35, 36 something at one stage. Yeah.
The local retailers.
So last year was the first year you offered 10 free stalls to the retailers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did that work?
The reduced numbers.
The stall holders. Retailers, but that's been a bit of a percentage.
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I can help you out there, Chris.
We spoke to one of the retailers and said, well, you know, how about you take one of the stalls on the market? And the answer was, how could I do that? I'm far too busy in my shop. And I say, well, hello. You know, it's the merch.
So we did have one retailer take up our offer, the Pie Here Art Room, I think it's called, and they came and joined us on certain days. They found it quite difficult to slide in, as you've got to be set up by 8:30, and there's a few rules. Even if it's a bit rainy and windy, you have to stay set up till the cruise ship goes. So they were a little bit up and down about it, but yes, they were more than welcome to come and join us, and they did, but not on a full-time basis, just casual.
Let's see you get up. So would it be fair to say that all the sales in the market are attributable to the cruise ship?
I'd have to say 99%, yeah.
So you can quantify the amount that each cruise ship brings in. Do the stores report their income to the voters?
I think, I mean, in doing these sort of economic studies, what they mostly focus on are working through the numbers of the credit card companies, and they see what the credit card takings are, and they can sort of judge what has been the impact.
But focus like here or
no, the tourism industry sometime about 2 years ago, they got an economic impact assessment done.
Yeah.
And I think that was used as in that article yesterday or the day before in the Herald about the impact of the economic benefit being in the region of 13 million. What they did say, and I know this also from the accommodation outlets, is that the surprising number of people, because a lot of the passengers on board are Australians, a lot of people enjoyed so much their stop there that they come back for holidays later on. And a lot of them have said these are cruise boat people who've come back because they love the Bay of Islands. So that impact is probably factored in some way as well.
hard to quantify.
Hard to quantify, yeah. Yeah.
In relation to your question in relation to reporting the sales of income, the income from stockholders on the Village Green, folks pay the community trust, have in their agreement with council, not with us, but council, to report monthly through the council. And who runs the chair has assured me that that will be happening on a monthly basis to council, so we should be getting a report of that information, and that will be.
But yeah, mine is just, you know, just inclusion, there's always a lot of numbers banding around. Some of them are always hard to quantify. This, because the market was only open with this cruise ships, I think you're right, 99% of the cruise ships, so it would be a good number to look at.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably in a better position.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
To answer what sort of percentage then, bearing in mind.
Yeah, I'd be 99% of sales we do are from cruise ship people. Yeah, definitely.
No, it's just it's I remember one article was written about the impact from in Auckland cruise ships. And it turned out a significant amount of that money was actually attributable to Auckland Airport, where there was a large changeover in income involved. So I'm very interested in the direct impact to our business.
It's huge. They get off the boat, they're all on holiday, they're all happy, they've all bought their money they've saved up on holiday. They get to meet the people, not only just us, but around the shops, and they get that connection. And it's all overseas money coming into New Zealand. So
yeah, that's good, but huge doesn't give me a quantifiable numbers. I'm sorry, but if we are going to get a record of it does, that will be some good numbers.
And I mean, if you are looking at numbers like that, I mean, it would make sense to try and speak to the other operators, you know, the Explore and those other operators as to how much business they get.
Yeah, the spend number is not something we're looking at. It's actually the income from stall holders.
Oh, I know that, but just in terms of, yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying is I'm saying that we all need to step back and accept that we won't, you know, as a retailer, they might not get all of the benefit of those cruise boat companies. And it's spread around, and they get the benefit on the, maybe it's not as much as they'd like, but they still do get that benefit. And without having that market there that has been so highly rated by the people on board, we might not get that many into town. So there are negatives and positives, but I think there's plenty to go around for everyone to enjoy.
Madam Chair, I know that there are still issues with the social license of cruise ships. There are large chunks of the community of
Jane, I'm going to have to ask if you wouldn't mind, just when
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
It's just that there is a decrease in social license. I want to push that on who did struggle with the sheer volume of people. Whilst it's great for the businesses, you know, the community is feeling a bit sort of overwhelmed by the sheer volume of people. I would just make that point.
Yeah, this last year was the first ever Iwi Hapu New Zealand cruise meeting that was held in the Bay. Well, it's just been really interested parties and people involved in the industry. So I went to that meeting because a lot of those concerns were voiced, and it was a fabulous, positive, constructive meeting, and a lot of facts were put on the table and answered. You know, both I guess from the Cruise New Zealand perspective and the Harbour Master perspective, the NPIs, all the who's were in the room. That was great. So I think there's another one coming up very soon, probably very September, because I know the boats start coming about mid-September this year. So there will be another opportunity. And so that was only the first three that would actually invited and had a separate pre-meeting with Hapu and Iwi as well to discuss sensitive concerns. So I think there is a lot more collaboration.
Yeah, I would encourage, you know, people that are doing the markets also to recognise that the communities also feel a little overwhelmed. You know, and there's a real cost to communities, so things like unpublic toilets being completely, you know, overwhelmed. And yeah, so there's a real impact on communities, and there's quite a lot of pushback from some members of society.
Yeah, I think that, you know, it comes down to collaboration and working together to do it. You know, I've had the other extreme said to me and said, as locals said, gee, it's great to go down to the market and go and have a look at all these stores, because the only times they are open is when the cruise boats are there. Now, I'm not saying that they spend a fortune there, but they do enjoy going down to have a look at the stores and see what's being produced in Northland and take it all in. So some people see that's a positive.
There are a lot of positives.
Yeah.
A lot of bad sides which needs to be just
Yeah, and I think it's
factored in as well.
Yeah.
Mindful that.
Yeah, I think it's what Linda is saying, the collaboration part is important that everyone gets together.
Board members may not realise that Focus Pay actually contract council to manage the increased level of service in our town. I'm not sure whether they have the same in Russell, which is something that perhaps we could look at. Separate issue to the schools on the village. But as far as the impacts on the community go, we are managing very well in our area that increased level of service required. And it's very important that that does not come at an additional cost to the rate payer. I think that's where the concern comes in. And we do need to look at those at the Russell community because I'm not sure how well we are collaborating on the servicing side of it at council level with community. So we know that we're ongoing rubbish issues as well. Yeah. Any more questions in relation to the agreement?
Just to touch on that reporting, yes, I'll be doing up a nice spreadsheet and we can forward you that each month of how many stalls were there, how much money each store holder had to pay for their site and whatnot. So that will start flowing through nicely.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
That item later on. Next we have Morgan Wilson. Morgan, you're here to advise in relation to Whangaroa Reserve Board in relation to your request for a toilet.
A toilet, yeah. Just get this.
Can you see? Just supporting documents. Model presentation.
Okay, just to give a this is a process that started a few years ago, and I came in partway through it. And that's me there. Yep. Oh, I'll go this side, and then I should see. Yeah, so I came in partway through, and then everything kind of stalled with COVID lockdowns, and then it kind of fell on the back burner, and so we've started this again. But when I got back in touch with the council, all the key people that we'd worked with before had moved on, and so we submitted an RFS to see if they could suggest who we contact about this, and their recommendation was that we come and talk for the board. And I only received that last Thursday, I think, and I was grateful to get the opportunity to come in this quickly. And so you've got some background information there. So what I wanted to show was just a little bit more about the context and the details of what we're proposing. Okay, so for anyone who's not familiar with it, the location is on State Highway 1, where the northern entrance to the Maramaku Valley turns off. So one of the things that happened partway through the process was that when the initial plans for siting the toilet were submitted, we found out that the preferred toilet site was actually on NZTA land, and they don't allow buildings to be put on their land. But that's Mark Lagerstedt, and that's one of the corrections. I was typing it late last night, and I think I put Lagerfeld. But Mark Lagerstedt, the surveyor, approached NZTA and arranged for a lease agreement between NZTA and Bunnells District Council. So the council basically leases that piece of land so that we can operate under council rules and not NZTA rules, which gave us the opportunity to site the toilet in an appropriate place. So heading south, that's the turn off that you'll see, and the park is in the area straight ahead. So it has, with the park area, there's a driveway that goes in, comes out at the bottom. There's room on the side for about 3 cars to park, plus a few more to head through the area. And that flat area down the bottom is where we would be looking at installing the toilet cubicle. There. So it's out of the main traffic flow. So the toilet system that was chosen is one that's manufactured in Marlborough. It's a pre-assembled unit with panels. It comes with all the rails for wheelchair accessibility. And because we don't have a regular water supply there, they just have hand sanitizer and a collection tank underneath. Essentially, it's a flash long drop probably, which needs to be pumped out. But that's a single unit. It's about 2.5 meters long by 2 meters wide and weighs about 600 kilos. So it's not that difficult to lift into place. And we have the toilet and the holding tank underneath already installed in the farm shed up here. When we initially, in the early parts of the process, we were asked to get an engineering assessment of the site because there's I think about a 3-kilometre stretch of hills along the main highway there that the regional council has identified as high subsidence land. So we have an engineer's report that was done by PK Engineering in Ketikeri here. And they recommended an installation process that would have involved drilling holes with wooden poles and concrete surrounds. And after that, we heard about a group called Surefoot Foundations that have no dig foundation systems. They have a plate that allows them to drive pipes at various angles, like basically like the roots of a tree. And then on top of the ground plate, you can have extension poles that have 100 mil of horizontal movement and about 200 mil of vertical adjustment. And that's the installation system that we would prefer to go with because it would involve less disturbance of the land. We'd only have to excavate for the tank to sit underneath there. And if there ever was any movement of the land, then the toilet block could be adjusted again to level it up. Just a little bit about that's just showing some of the things that have already been added into the park area, just a few entertainments that we have grandchildren who come up, live in Hamilton. When they come up, they like to go there and play with the xylophones, their stainless steel tubes, and they've nicknamed it the Ding Dong Park because of that. So that's what's already there. As in the handout, one of the benefits of having a toilet installed there is that it would allow us to get community work people in again to help us with maintenance of the park. It's also in terms of toilets right by the main road that don't involve having to detour through either Kamo or Hikarangi, would be the only toilet between Whangaroa and Kaukaua. And there's a lot of people who found it, found the park, finding it a good place to stop and get out, somewhere where the kids can hop out and have a run around. People can get out and stretch without having to worry about traffic. And it's not so busy there. But unfortunately, at the moment, because we don't have a designated toilet, some people just treat the whole park as an open air toilet. Makes it unpleasant for those who are trying to maintain the park and those who come after them. So as I've outlined in there, our plans are for this to be self-funded. One of the original conditions of going ahead with this was that both NZTA and Whanau District Council said, we're happy for you to do that, but we won't commit to any financial support for it. And so the few things that would be helpful would just be with, as we come up with problems about like lighting the cubicles and things like that, or when it comes to approaching the council, it would be great to have some inside information about who's the best people to work with and some support with that. So that's really what we're looking for, is just some practical support in the process now for us to make sure that we meet all the council requirements for documentation, and then get the quote and submit the funding application. And if all of that is able to proceed reasonably, we could get it installed this summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce.
Yeah, first of all, what is about this?
The toilet itself costs 22,000. That's all being paid for. And there was grants from Lion Foundation, Fonterra. So it's about 4 funding. Some of it's been private donations from community members. And so that part is paid and being delivered. Our plan for funding the installation is to approach Foundation North quick response grants. When we spoke to Shawfoot Foundation, when we initially dealt with them, it was just before lockdown, so probably 3 odd years ago now, and they were talking about 14,000 for the full installation. And they would do everything pretty much except excavate the hole, and we have local farmers who are able to do that for it. Realistically, given that it's some of the equipment is imported from overseas, we're working on a ballpark figure of about $20,000. Foundation North has a $25,000 for the quick response grants. So we will come under that. They have open application and approval times. So it's about 2 months from submission to getting a response, and up to a month after that to pay out. And so that 3 month funding means we're not having to wait for like a once a year or twice a year application process.
Hi, brilliant community initiative. So first off, congratulations to you guys. This is awesome.
It made a difference to what was a pretty unsightly place after the rubbish skip was removed and people still treated it at the dump. So.
And I'm going to have to stop, and I'm embarrassed to admit I never have. I drive past every week, but I've never stopped, so I will now. In your correspondence, which I've really quickly skimmed while you were talking, it's very expensive, isn't it? When and I just want to clarify that you guys have done an amazing job. You've raised $22,000 for the toilet. You've spent just under $15,000 on survey and engineering. $8,000 survey for a long drop toilet that weighs 600 kilos. That's someone's making some money. And you've applied to Foundation North.
Oh, we haven't done that yet. So, but that's our plan to apply to Foundation North for the installation.
When are you planning to do that? Because I see you want a letter from this board and support that.
Once we meet all the council requirements, and so we want to make sure that that when we apply for the funding, that if we get it, we're able to go ahead straight away.
Right.
And so that's kind of the last part of the process. So we want to make sure that we get all the council approvals and have met all the council requirements, and then get the finalised quotes for the installation, knowing what documentation has to be provided and what processes have to be carried out, and then apply for the funding. But just although the last quote of about 14,000 for the Surefoot foundation system and installation seemed quite high when we got to build it to price out the installation system using poles and concrete and timber frames. That came out at about 12,000. And so the extra couple of $1,000 was something that required less earthworks and created less disturbance and had more future adjustability, seemed like a good investment.
So just so I'm clear, you have through your own resources raised the $22,000 to purchase the toilets.
Yeah.
And the $14,496 that's been spent on surveys and engineers and doing the test poll.
That was.
Who paid for that?
The test poll thing I've done, we actually had additional grants from Arnold Franks and who's the other there, but that's all been fundraised for as well. So about half of the cost of the toilet was paid for by private donations by community members, and half of it through fundraising. There's been hundreds of hours put into that.
Remarkable, just utterly remarkable.
So
we never see this. So I just think you guys need a huge pat on the back. Really and brilliant stuff. So all you're really asking from this board is put you in touch with the right person in the council, a letter of support, and can we try and influence the council to adjust the maintenance contract so we can add this to the maintenance schedule?
Yes. Once it's up and running and established, we can see ways that we could get it set up, but it becomes a different process, even in terms of applying for funding, to do the ongoing support and maintenance of things like this. And so then when it was suggested that the council may be willing to consider taking over the maintenance once we've set it up, that seems like a win-win for everyone.
Okay, so just so I don't dominate all the time, there are some processes we need to follow to get this onto the agenda, and we need to time our letter to support your letter.
Yeah.
So to do that, you need, let me introduce you to the wonderful Katie, and you two can swap emails or phone numbers or something, and she can. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Right. Yeah.
We're done. Congratulations, and I'm sorry for the state of my health. But anyway, I'm really pleased that you've got this far. I've actually put this in our strategic plan to my old office so that it's I guess my question will be, is there an issue with the ownership of the assets? Like who will own the assets?
We would be happy for it to transfer to council.
Well, maybe not, because foundation will may not be required to that. So
okay, well
I'm just
those are the things we're trying to learn. So
yeah,
question.
We need to be advice on that to make sure we don't prejudice your application. We might do a maintenance contract with council, but you
maintain it as a community.
That's a slightly different way of doing it. But as I say, it is in the plan. So well done for that.
So we've just helped to ask the right questions. If we don't do that, then we don't get the right answers. So these are the kind of things that we want council to support.
We agree that they should put in assets so they can refine processes.
Yeah. So we'll,
that's it.
The reserves board, we have 6, 7 on the committee. We get probably a dozen show up there at AGMs. We have people that we could call on who are willing to help when needed and who haven't committed to an ongoing place on the board.
Other than this particular space, other reserves that they're not there.
Well, the reserves board itself was actually set up for the War Memorial Hall and field there, and also over the last few years there was Africa calling installed, and so that's in terms of the council funding. That's the focus of their funding. That's our responsibility. So this project came under the reserves board partly because when they started applying for funding, they needed to have an identity, an organisation with an identity and a bank account, and lots of the people involved in promoting the park were already on the reserves board. And so ideally, we would like at some stage for a separate group to take over looking after this. We're not quite sure how well it fits with the official reserves board responsibility because it's not part of the designated council reserve. But that seemed like the best group to help move it forward at the time.
The community is incredibly lucky to have.
Thank you.
Well, it's finally on the table.
Yeah.
So Bruce and I go back quite a lot.
Yeah.
We've had Colleen stand here in front of us for many years till she just about wore herself out. And I think congratulations are long overdue. I know there was complexities with the site. And you've obviously, you know, it has been a lot of years. But when it was first proposed, everybody was just kind of like,
The first funding grants were received in 2016. And so the park was going for a few years. Yeah, so 10, maybe 11, 12 years that people started trying to tidy up the area. So
perseverance does pay off. So as a process, as Anne's pointed out, to follow this through. So the next step is to get rid of a support from the left. No one has spoken against it. It is in James' list of your area that's up with a representative. Our strategic plan, which means we can move that forward into the long-term plan. We'll come down to get some cost limits for ongoing services, and what's it so a little bit of work to be done, but gosh, you know, it's up to you for hanging in there so long. And so remember when you did the rest of this. Yeah. Right. So you know,
Go down in the end of the day, it's been
it was just like this.
it didn't look good as it started.
Dumping grounds,
Yeah.
a lot of people, but no, well done. You will work with Casey, the necessary reference. You'll need patience because it won't happen overnight.
Yes, in progress, it's good progress.
It is, it is. So thank you once again for coming and presenting to us, and particularly for our newer members who won't know that site and how long we've been working on it. Congratulations for all of us, and I'm sure we're going to move forward. Thank you.
Is that turned off now? Yeah. We don't miss a task to try to this. There's some. We actually did want to have it removed and then now we rest those. As far as well, we missed. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, everybody. Thank you, Morgan. Right, then on to item 6.1, confirmation for previous minutes. No fees were circulated because the attachment was list of the agenda, so we've all got a copy of those. I will move the recommendation that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board confirm the minutes of meetings held on 6th of July 2023 are true and the first record. Do I have a second? Against? Yeah, we just had a few amendments. There were, I just picked up on the fact that as I was in the rescue, Leslie Hilden speak, we had to call Summer Johnson and Emma come and speak to us on that. Shirley Mays was just a typo there. And then we had Barbara Belch from the Time Bank and the Floral Art at Ellen Reid, and so come address us as add-ons. So we've added those as speakers to those unconfirmed minutes. Right. We will now go to public disclosure. Did you vote? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yes. Against. And now move that we go into public exclusion for the purposes of confirming our PX minutes from meeting Monday, 31st of July. Molly. These are the statements we read out in public entities. Still have to confirm. I have to do that. Yeah. You do? Yes. Yes, we do. Dolly, can you hear me? Can you just can you confirm that we'll just move into public exclusion on the live stream, please? Thank you. Thank you, Dolly. Now moving on, I should find that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Commission will note the reports from Chairperson Belinda Ward and Member James Riddle. Do I have you over? Thank you, Amy. Seconded Bruce. Take mine against the end.
Madam Chair, I just would like to congratulate Jane on her members' report. She's an incredibly busy woman, and I read every word. I just wanted to make a comment regard to road seals. The government policy statement for investment in land transport has not been released. We're in an utterly remarkable situation where this has never happened before in my time. The government has to release their policy statements, which says what we will fund and importantly, what we won't fund. And then based on that, each council or road controlling authority develops their annual plan or long-term plan. And then we submit that to the Regional Land Transport Committee for adoption. The timelines for those are set in legislation, and we have started now on our long-term plan, but we still don't have the government policy statement on land transport investment. So we're going to come to a pinch point, and I'm not confident at this point we're going to be able to respond in a timely manner. So I just signal that for everyone's benefit, but particularly Jane, because there is a conversation happening that they, and it's certainly happening at a Regional Land Transport Committee level, that they may remove road seal projects in lieu of transferring that funding to road maintenance catch-up. But that's a conversation that is at play. A little alarmingly for me, there's also a conversation at play that they remove the footpath money for the same purposes. And that runs into a technical challenge because one's operation and one's capital, and the board understands that, so I'm not going to waste any time. But I just want you to be alive to the fact that these conversations are happening, and there is some concern to me that they're happening at a level that's not visible to the board. It's important the board is briefed on those. And it's a little bit of a departure, but I just would like to request, Madam Chair, that the board considers a workshop on road safety, and we get the appropriate technical experts and talk to the board about the number of interventions that we can introduce into the transport corridor other than speed restrictions that will achieve potentially better outcomes for the community. There is a lot of work being done in the space of urban design and placemaking and within the road and corridor that alters drivers' behaviour, which is getting better results than just arbitrarily reducing the speed limit. So I'd just like to signal that. Thank you. And again, congratulations, Jane. You've been incredibly busy.
Thank you, Anne, for that excellent. Yeah. It's very alarming, isn't it, to think that they might be.
Just conversations, Madam Chair, but unfortunately, the way the hierarchy works, I'm concerned the community board might find out by osmosis or after the fact rather than be a player at the table.
We will note, and please, workshop, I think, particularly if you even just road safety, because we are looking at placemaking projects, and it's something that we need to strongly consider.
It's probably something that would be best workshopped at the combined community board so that all three community boards hear the same message at the same time. Unfortunately, the next combined community board agenda is full, but definitely something that we can look at for the next one.
Let's move to Amy Bruce. Item 7. I'm just thinking, Aidan, we'll deal with item 7.3, page 23. So that you can get on with the rest of the day. You might quite like sitting here with us, but it's might like to release you. So we have item 7.3, that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board pursuant to Francis Road handling policy name a private right of way, Dove Lane, that is currently addressed at 27 Access Road, Kitty. Do I have a mover? Thank you, Ray. Seconder, Amy. Now, this is actually, report was requested as a carryover because the last report that came to us didn't have Lynn's approval in it. So you now have that in front of you. Dove Lane is the preference. Got any here, was any further questions? You see page 27. I guess that constitutes Lynn's approval.
Yeah, that's the email we received from them.
Do you want to speak to this meeting?
Yeah, if you have any questions, I can.
You've come back with what we asked for the previous round, but any questions from? I know we did have a good discussion around how knowing those names where we weren't very happy with them, but that is what it is. Doves. Deploy with Dove Lane. So if there's no questions for Eden, I'll put this. Moved by Lane, seconded by Amy. All those in support? Against? Agreed. Finally, took one off the list, Eden.
It's one down, many to go.
Thank you. And nice to meet you.
Yes, lovely to meet you all.
So we'll move to item 7.2, ground lease for the Pioneer Scouts. It's recommendation that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board recommends to Council acting under delegation pursuant to Section 61 of Reserves Act 1977. A ground lease to be issued to Scouts Aotearoa over the local purpose community activities reserve being approximately 238 square metres of Block 40 DP 43842, held in New Zealand Gazette 2002, page 21, invested in Farnham District Council on deposit DP 43842 as a local purpose reserve. The terms of the proposed lease shall be term 3 years, rental as per Farnham District Council fees and charges scheduled for a community lease, $118 plus GST for 2023-2024, and reviewed annually in conjunction with FNDC fees and charges scheduled. B, with further conditions negotiated and agreed upon by the group manager, delivery and operations of Scouts Aotearoa. Do I have a mover? Elaine? Second, Bruce. I'd just like to note amendments on the typos there that we put into capital Scouts Aotearoa and New Zealand Gazette and District Council. The only feedback I have had in this item, we were going to have speakers come and talk to us, but this is actually happy with the decision. To date, it is in line with the Playhead Kindergarten, kindergarten lease that was put through council that you see here on page 17. and the term was reduced to 3 years. The only comment that has been made to me in relation to this is that they would like the dates to align with the Paihia Waitangi kindergarten lease. Whether that is possible, I'll take the advice on that one.
As for the chair, I am not too sure, but we do have K meetings online who we are able to ask K.
Through the chair. Yes, I
Oh, hold
can't
on,
see
Kay
that.
may be speaking and I've got her on mute. Sorry, Kay.
It's okay. Through the chair. Yes, it should be possible. There's no reason why we couldn't make them align. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes, I think we'll just be a bit tidier. Bearing in mind they do have shared access way and parking area.
Yeah.
So I think the intent was to have them aligning, but the scouts hadn't responded. So,
How would that mean the resolution needs to have something in it, or do you think we can just do it outside of the resolution? Just that the resolution will have. We haven't got the kindergarten lease signed yet, so yeah, maybe we'll just draft both leases with the same start date. And
that sounds fine. So I think if we perhaps add in the recommendation that where it's got the term 3 years, with dates aligning to the Paihia Waitangi kindergarten lease, would that suffice, or do we not need to bother?
Do that. I think it's there. Everybody understands what's happened in the future.
Thank you. I'm satisfied it's been dealt with. I think we fresh this out with the Paihia Waitangi kindergarten, and if local happen want to come and speak to it, they have the opportunity to come to the council meeting when this recommendation goes to the council agenda.
Good.
Thank you, Kay.
Okay. Thank you.
There's a word there.
So we just, it was just reviewed fees and charges recently, haven't they? Okay, so we can't address the fees and charges over 5 tables. But I had noted it, so it'll be really good for the next round. Likewise with anything, see, we're not in a position to.
But Madam Chair, there are some inconsistencies with the numbers with our staff check.
Yes, and that wasn't, it wasn't clarified at the time. It was just the fact that they only have charges up to 5 tables. So there are inconsistencies, be it just dollars, when that's on the old schedules, and they've actually just, it's just we need clarification on that. But as I understand it, 5 tables will pay the same as 6.
Yeah, but that's check.
I don't have any issues with the in my area. Like some of our other applications, the living tables have been doing by the premises for quite some time, so I would imagine they've been approached and are just formalising this. Very wide footpath. I was going to ask in relation to this area, it was just for your kitty members on page 48, outside the kitty lunchbox. What's that? Sort of unfortunate looking garden and those rubbish tins. Is there a good minimum footpath width? It's hard to determine at that picture.
Same.
Up through.
Well, we can see there's the lunchbox and then the next one, and then so it's.
Oh, picture's unfortunate with the bag of rubbish in the drain.
It's just.
Would you want to sit there, really?
I would ask anybody. But you cannot lunchbox. They will be.
Next door.
And I looked at the picture for and I don't have the things that but there's 3 rock gardens being built. Turn to page with signs and lines on that. Like that of the sign crossing. The applicant is going to maintain access.
I think it's our opportunity to make some comment formally to staff in relation to consistency in relation to fees and charges.
Page 66. There, which is up and down from the number of bollards.
That's Kawakawa. Yeah?
That one is.
That's it.
I'm sorry.
That actually came to us a little while ago, and that the issues that in the community there, I think, was the proximity to the pedestrian crossing. Setback.
Yeah, no, I understand. Madam Chairman, I get these and then we have to deal with them. I can't just more interested in the policy than staff review. Because then we know if the policy is being followed, we don't have to go down there and figure out whether you share between that poll and that statement. Be the policy is more at the end of it.
Does the policy include whether there's street furniture like these gardens and things? That seems to be the bigger.
Yes, it does. Since that's what raised the issue with the joke was that if we have street furniture and rubbish tins and things within an Alfresco area, then it is they need our approval to actually have an officer dining. So there is.
I mean, some of these are quite clearly encumbered in terms of access because of the planters. You know,
so the only thing we can do is, I mean, they've said that NTA and Wakapata prefer 1.8 metre clearance, and it currently is 1.5. But until we revisit the policy, and you may be in a better position to advise me on this, at what point we could address some of these issues in the policy, which currently requires a 1.5 minimum footpath width. Wakakotahi and NTA prefer 1.8, but we can't actually address that if it's not in the policy. We would have to wait for a review. Yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest that you questions you to whether you instruct to say yes, that's what.
It's income. This bylaw. The bylaw. Which has just recently been under the road use bylaw being redone, hasn't it? No. So at this point, we can probably really only request consistency.
Madam Chair, well, I wasn't listening, and I'm not voting, I will just answer the question. The Rockwood and Gardens.
Yeah.
John Carter Main Street.
So our comments in relation to collectively is consistency in fees and charges. Is that what I was hearing? Related to head. Yeah. Receipt.
Non-pro rata and the utility access maintained at all times.
Might not get the change price figure.
Yeah.
I would like to see table and seat sizes included in the information application. There's some really bad drawings in here, some scribbled drawings, and some have put, you know, arrows showing the minimum footpath width, and you know, and it should be. And when the table, the area of the table and chairs being used when people are in a seated position, which is also some are, some aren't. So there are inconsistencies right throughout it. Table sizes and number of persons.
Table sizes.
There's some tidied up. We'd have got this something scribbling.
So I have
consistency.
Yep, consistency in fees and charges per seat. Is that included in the consistency, or leave the per seat out?
Consistency of fees and charges, because they actually are incorrect. Some of these.
Okay, so consistency in
points out.
You know, fees and charges.
5 tables at 380 and 5 tables at 474.
Okay, so consistency in fees and charges for all applicants, or consistency in fees and charges, we'll leave it at that. The pro rata rate, is that part of that consistency in fees and charges? Or are we gonna include that as a B?
Should be.
Should be left right around.
And I think they could consider a correlation between fees and fleet.
Yes. Well, we,
They
we,
won't be able to do that. this
I
time
think,
around.
I think future applications should include table sizes, seating, and number of people.
And that's far from the feedback on each individual
Yeah, I know.
application, not staff. So we can feedback the comments that you are currently making to staff to look at offline, but in no way do they affect the risk of dining application.
No.
Yeah.
In terms of a resolution, I don't think those comments needed to be added because we're directed to staff and not to around the processes.
Yeah, so they won't take that into consideration of recommendation if we ask. Okay.
So I think while that it is an important conversation to have,
Yes.
just don't see it necessary as being in the resolution.
Okay.
Although some numbers are wrong.
Yeah, and then you need to point them out and say your comment.
But we don't know
that
which
this-
one is the correct charge. That's the thing, we don't have the schedule in front of us.
So we can bring up the schedule.
Okay.
The schedule and say actually we say, and it was like fees, they've already paid for their
Yes.
license fee. But they've already charged, so we're either going to need to refund them or to
Charge them.
for additional update. So at least we know which.
So that consistency in fees and charges is applied to all applications as per the current schedule, is all we can ask.
But that doesn't need to be included in the.
It doesn't? Okay. Moving forward, we look forward to reviewing the road bylaw policy in 10 years. I mean, the road use bylaw in 10 years. It's just been done, sadly.
In 2012.
Feels like yesterday. Okay, so we do have a recommendation. Want to go through any of them individually concern you, or are you happy to read those?
I mean, I think confusion and fees relates specifically to the gables and the profitable one. Those ones, you have one.
I can check the schedule, see, yeah. Okay, so moved by Lane, seconded by Jane. All those in support? Against? Carried, thank you. Just about through this, so if you would like to keep going, does anybody need a break?
Yes, please.
We take a 5-minute break.
Dolly, can you confirm that the live stream has paused, please? Thank you.
Right, welcome back everybody up to that break. We're on to item 7.5. The recommendation that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board approve the Paihi Village Green Art and Crafts Market Guidelines 2023-2024. Do I have a mover? Thanks, Anne. Seconded Bruce. Just had one alteration in here as a result of Sam's presentation this morning, which is on the written pages, page 81E7 and also on page 87 in E7. You'll notice these two agreements are slightly different. One is for the stall holders, the paying stall holders, and the second one is actually for the retailers in the community who have been offered stalls at no charge. So hence the difference in the two contracts. So I just wanted to amend that date, should be on pages 81 and 87, which is E7, should read 1st August and close on 1st September.
That's September.
1st, not 16, and that's in line with C2, which is, you'll see the months that are out there are September to May inclusive. So that should have had 1st September, not 16. That's for this year only. These agreements actually come to the board annually. Should, they will, from now on, come to the board annually and be reviewed annually. Any questions or discussions around this? No? Okay, so moved and seconded Bruce. I'll put it. All those in support? Against? Carried. Item 7.6, our funding applications, page 91. That the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board, rescind the balance of $60 granted to Million Marai in Resolution 2022-112 on the 17th of November 2022, and directs that this amount be returned to the Community Board Fund, total for future allocation. Second recommendation that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board be confirmed the Resolution 2023-45 of the 8th of June 2023, granting funding to the Whangaroa Recreation and Community Trust, and directs the funding being released to the applicant as a project plan has been received as requested. Do I have a mover? Got Amy and Jane, I heard. Okay. Any discussion around this?
Got quite an ambitious program of work over and above what we've had the funding for.
Catherine, have we had a project report on Million Marai yet, or no? But we will receive one.
They said that they're still doing something.
That was putting the power lines underground, if I recall, wasn't it? Yeah.
And they've had delays.
Oh, yes. Oh, well, nice to see something coming under budget anyway. No more discussion. Moved Amy, seconded Jane. I'll put that to the vote. All those in support? Against? It's carried. We must have frightened all our funding applicants off last month by going into public exclusion, because
all the applications were due in the day of that meeting, so they wouldn't see.
Right. It's very rare that we have an agenda without a lot of funding applications on this board. Item 8.1, that the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board receive the report Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board Action Sheet Update. Remover. Lane, seconded Bruce. got nothing to add, anything to delete, it's always the exciting bit. No, Cherry,
Yeah.
Cherry Park down.
It's the Doves Lane.
Oh, the bottom one that we just done today.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
At the last meeting, I don't know if it's because we've only just concluded the minutes, it's just a matter of. I moved an alternate resolution in regard to the funding for the area, that combined MGA.
Yes.
Project, and I moved, let's go back to the minutes. To
Yes.
that we did not vote.
It's the table minutes this morning. Yep.
But the Bay of Islands-Whangaroa Community Board and recovery group recommended the council does not sign and that the community board group of the Northern Transportation Alliance. Put that now, we are on the outstanding action report, so it doesn't get lost.
Should we, yeah, okay. I haven't picked the council agenda yet this Thursday. Is it on there?
I've only just opened it.
I don't believe it is, but we can make sure that it is added to the action sheet here so that it is included. In the community board minutes.
Tuesday, I wondered if it's on there whether I would, because I would be speaking to it at the meeting. So.
It'll be on the community board minutes, Madam Chair. Because this is your previous minutes, you can still speak to it as part of the community board previous minutes on the council agenda this Thursday. And then we can add it to the action sheet so that it carries forward on this agenda as well. And if the mover and seconder are happy to add the note that we will add 8.3.
Lane and Bruce, are you happy to add 8.3 from our concluded minutes into the action sheet? Thank you. Anything else to raise there? I'll put it to the vote then. Moved Lane, seconded Bruce. All those in support? Against? Carried. Done our PX minutes. So that concludes our meeting for the day, which has got to be just about record time for us. Bearing in mind it's pre-lunch, so thank you all of us for attending. I would just like to finally acknowledge Tyler's birthday again. And Casey, I would like to acknowledge your promotion, who headed the Gigi in Aisha's absence as she takes her maternity leave, and it's been short-lived, but hopefully you'll be back. We certainly love working with you, so just
thank you, Madam Chair.
On that note, I will ask for a karakia for closing. Anybody like to?
I tend to splash us through them.
You do that, Jane. Thank you very much.
Yeah, tai koutou, te atapai o te tata arahui ini krafi, te araha o te atua, e na pipina tapitu. Wairua tapi, ake, api. Amen.
Amen.